It's January 1950. Mr. Pollard makes his way down Red Hills on his way to the organ factory. The organ factory belonged to Mrs. Harrison and Harrison's of Durham City. We see a train leaving the station, just coming over the viaduct. On the train is Mr. Cuthbert Harrison, who was going on his way to London to clinch a contract for the Royal Festival Hall organ. Here we see his works and men working on the organ. A very, very good contract to have, and a very famous organ this will turn out to be. And the pipes, some of the pipes have been fitted and have been removed for further work. The organ is so large that they can't build it in the factory in one piece. This is just 1/3 of the organ being built. On the left hand side we see some of the reservoirs. Altogether there are 30 reservoirs, each one going to a different action and a different part of the instrument with different wind pressures. The organ, when it is completed, will have around about 5,000 pipes. Some of the men working on the organ are Mr. George Wilson. In the background you see some of the pedal board-ons, the building frame, and now some of the key actions which have been fitted are being removed for further work. Mr. Harry Lawson is beginning to come down onto the ground floor. Leslie Rowland, the voice, removing more of the pipe work from the great soundboard. Below we see a reservoir, and below that further again on the ground floor level is the console. The console casework is in walnut, and the organ has something like 130 odd stops. Mr. John Newton, assistant manager, and Mr. Jerry Clark working on the console. Stop machines are being fitted with doorstop pins and rods. The action work is electro-pneumatic, and the first doorstop goes into position. All the doorstops are made of ivory, and the number on the lower end of the doorstop denotes the size of the largest pipe on that particular stop. Foot pistons are being fitted by Mr. Robert Hindle, and the toe pistons. Keyboards are being worked on by Mr. Harry Wood, and he is receiving instructions from the manager, Mr. Robert Wood, his brother. They're now talking about the thumb pistons, which have electric contacts on. And we see Mr. Lovejoy, Harry Lovejoy, showing the various motors in the action work. A valve that is needed, and one complete action with the motors installed, and now the valves being screwed into position. Pin vise is used to screw the valve wires into the small motors. Mr. Mr. John Newton again, working a roller valve, ventil. And a coupler machine and relay machine being fitted with casework. The coupler and relay machine is the very nerve centre of the entire instrument. Some of the younger boys are beginning to move more of the pipe work. And further inside the organ, more pipes are added to be tried and fitted. The movie camera swings around because the organ is so large that one can't take it all in one shot or one piece. Now it's remarkable to think that all the music from this organ will eventually come from this casting put. The pipes start the life from the pure incuts of metal, pure tin and lead. About 50% of each go into this put and are melted down. And a dross or scum appears on top of the metal, which is removed. And as time goes by, it's almost a silvery liquid substance, which in turn will be removed into a smaller holder. It will be ladled out of the big large one into the small one, and directly below that we have a wooden trough or jig with a slit in the bottom. And all this is on top of a slate table bench, which is some 14 feet in length. And this man has the most exacting, precise job. He's got to pour the metal into the trough exactly at the right time. He can't use a thermometer. He's got to look at the top of the metal, and when he thinks it's just right, he pours it in. And then the two men push that along the slate table. And metal runs out of the bottom and eventually cools off. And here we have the metal cooled and being rolled into sheets. It then goes to the metal department, where it is planed up, sometimes much the same as wood is. Shames are taking off it to the required thickness. And then each particular part of the pipe is cut into sections. And various parts are soldered together. And we see the small pipe work being made. The two halves being soldered together. The melting point of the solder is about the same melting point as a pipe, so one has got to be very careful the soldering iron doesn't melt the pipe too. That's why the soldering iron looks so big and clumsy. It's because they hold the exact amount of heat without going cold, without cooling off too much. Now Mr. Leslie Rowlands is hoisting pipe work. When they come from the metal section, the maker of the pipe, it's not his job to make them speak, but this man, Mr. Rowlands, is going to voice all the pipes so that when they go into the organ, they are speaking properly. And metal can be cut away from the pipe work, from the bottom of the pipe, as we see in the picture, allowing the wind to flow through. A large hole will let more wind in, make the pipe louder, and the smaller hole will make it softer and quiet. Now, the mouth of the pipe can be regulated, and you see the bottom lip being set. We also have the reeds, which are trumpets, ophicleides, clarinets, oboes, work on a different principle. They have a tongue, small brass tongue, which has to be curved exactly right to produce the right tone and note that the voicer is wanting. And some of the reed voices too, around this picture on the bench. First of all, before the organ could be started, a model had to be made.